Georgia in Jacksonville. It's always a special game despite the point spread and the standings. Right now, you got 14.5 on the Georgia side at 7-0 versus the 3-3 Gators. We bring in David Waters from Gators Breakdown. So if you don't know about Gators Breakdown, you jump online and you find David on Twitter. Again, Gators Breakdown or Gator Dave _SEC. I'm remembering my Twitter handles pretty well. You can find it right there. And you get tremendous Florida football coverage, 3 podcasts per week during the football season. Feleipe Franks, of course, we've got to talk about him. I think you were pretty satisfied with the selection. And then based on what we saw against Michigan, it seemed as though, that was the guy that they needed to go with. He provided the most athletic. And with Malik Zaire under-impressing against the Wolverines, he appeared to be the choice. Now, it's kind of difficult to evaluate with offensive line woes and wide receivers missing games, but your thoughts about his play?
A little underwhelming. Mark, they went back to Luke Del Rio in that Kentucky game. He saved them there. Then he's played against Vanderbilt the very next week. And, the offense did look better. He settled them down there, but then he gets hurt and they have to reinsert Feleipe Franks. And he is limited. We knew coming out of high school that he was a very, very raw quarterback. He didn't have a lot of coaching in the high school level, a lot of quarterback coaching. So it was going to take some time for him to grasp this offense. It was going to take some time to him to learn some defenses and what other teams are showing him. And it shows right now. He very often doesn't go past his first read. It's very predictable offense with him right now. There are times when you're watching the opposing defense, as soon as the ball is snapped, they are following his eyes and they're going straight to where his eyes are. And that first read's not there. He panics and he gets sacked. Now, this is the offensive line. They can't help that. Then this is Feleipe Franks not getting rid of the ball, not going to a second read. He has to hang on to the ball a little bit longer, and he gets sacked. So there are some things you would hope with some time and preparation and going by each game that he would get better. We'll see if Florida has worked on anything in the bye week where they've identified things he can do well. They should use his legs a little more. Now, he's not Lamar Jackson out there, but he's mobile. He can use his legs as a threat. If you got some 3rd and 4s and 5s and the defense, you kind of in between run or pass, maybe some short quarterback draws there. Maybe you can run some read option, a few a game just to keep some defenses honest with the talented running backs you have back there as well. So there are some things I think the coaches can help him out with, some more half-field reads, some easy reads for him, game plan around his strengths and game plan away from his weaknesses. So we'll see what this coaching staff can do. We know he has a big arm. He gets his big target, deep field target back with Tyree Cleveland coming back this week, who should be close to healthy, and Kadarius Toney will be out there at receiver as well as a playmaker. So they need to identify what he can do well and go from there and hopefully help this offense grow.
David Waters from Gators Breakdown. You got to join him right there for the best in Gators football coverage. David, it doesn't matter, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. Is this team 5-1 if Luke Del Rio doesn't get hurt? It would be an ugly 5-1, but they lose by 1 point against LSU. The Texas A&M game, if I remember correctly, they had a lead most of the second half. Then they let it slip away, and they lose a low-scoring game against the Aggies.
Mark, I would say so. They're 5-1, and you're right. It's probably not pretty. It's probably worth a field goal or touchdown. In those games. So if they don't miss an extra point against LSU, who knows where that game ends up going anyway. You probably had to like their chances. But you're right. I think Del Rio is at least worth one more score, and a field goal in each of those games would have been enough if, of course, they've played out the same way. So, I think so. I think the offense, as I said, looked a little bit smoother. The offensive line looked like they got a little more confident. Luke Del Rio, talking about Del Rio, he knew what to do pre-snap. He is, what you really want in a quarterback pre-snap. It's just after the ball snapped and some of the reads he makes, and he doesn't have the arm strength. That's where Luke Del Rio, that's where it cost him. But, when Florida could run the ball, Luke Del Rio was the best quarterback there because he could put him in the right checks and, and point out blitzes and point out the defense and what they needed to do. So, yeah, I would definitely say this team is 5-1. The line against Georgia is probably 7 or 8 instead of 2 scores like it is right now. So, we'll see what happens when they kick off in Jacksonville with Feleipe Franks behind center. We have to definitely move on from it, and hopefully the redshirt freshman can get it going.